Let's start with population figures. Wow, is all I can say. I mean, we've been talking about population. It's something I actually covered on the show a number of times in terms of our population going up. We talk obviously about net migration, that 745,000 figure, absolutely shocking figure in the last year. More people coming to live in this country than leaving. And you laugh at the fact, 200,000 homes are built a year. Most of those, by the way, are unaffordable. There's expensive sort of penthouse flats that are being built in places like Knightsbridge, which most of us could never dream of affording, being bought by foreign millionaires as investments. We haven't got the homes for these people. We haven't got the schools for their children. We haven't got the GP appointments, the NHS doctors. We haven't got the jobs for these people because, no, we do have the jobs for these people. Oh, yeah. And that's why they're pushing down wages for people who are born and bred in this country. The figures, though, are absolutely stunning. The ones we got from the Office for National Statistics. These are estimated, predictions, projections of what is going to happen in the next few years. And the population currently around the 67 million mark, believed to be going up to 70 million by 2026. Now, they thought it was 2036 at the earliest that it was going to reach that number. But given the scale of immigration, that's what they now reckon. And it'll be 73.7 million by 2036. And 92% of that will be due to net immigration. It's the equivalent of 6.6 million more people in this country in 12 years' time. And that's the equivalent of 5 cities the size of Birmingham. What I'm asking this morning is people's reaction to that. I want to leave it very wide, very open. What's your reaction when you hear those figures?
I'm sure it'll be fine. That seems to be the attitude of the British government for the last 20 years. It's like, it'll work itself out. People can do it. It's a disgrace. Nobody has voted for this. Nobody was consulted on this. And as you just pointed
nobody
out,
voted for this. We specifically were asked.
Us not.
And
we asked
said
not
no.
to have this. And as you just said, you've gone through the myriad issues that we have in this country that are affecting people and have been affecting and would be affecting us even if we had no migration. We're not building enough houses. We're not investing in infrastructure. There isn't actually the capacity. And it's not one of those, oh, we're full kind of things, where people then go, oh, well, actually only whatever percent of the British mainland is built on. There simply aren't the resources in terms of state
plans, and there are no plans for it. This is the thing. When Tony Blair said, it was going to be absolutely fine, open the doors to Eastern Europe, very different from what, say, Germany and other countries did under EU expansion. They predicted far fewer people. All of the people who were accused of being racist, the Nigel Farages, Migration Watch UK and others, all accused of being racist for saying, no, it's going to be far higher. Even their estimates were well below what it actually was. And the reason why the Office for National Statistics has had to revise these figures is because all of their predictions have been off. So there's no reason to think, and even, by the way, their predictions for what's going to happen in the next 10 or 12 years, even those are based on a level of immigration, net immigration, which is well below where we are today. With the expectation, according to the polls, that we're going to have a Labour government that apparently thinks we should have pretty much an open-door policy. So I don't know where we go with this. Now, there is the economic issue. There's no doubt at all. This is a huge economic issue because we're told constantly that immigration is crucial for growth. We've had mass immigration for 20 years. We've had absolutely sluggish growth for that entire time. That may be a correlation or a causation, but it ain't produced economic growth.
No, it is actually just a lie. It is a lie that there is this idea that all of the people who come here are highly skilled and highly motivated.
And highly paid.
Because they go to countries that can actually pay them properly. They go to the United States. The best people in the world from the third world and the developing world, they go to the United States. They don't bother with us, actually. And as you point out, a lot of this is about suppressing wages. That's what, it works really well for companies.
Oh, businesses love it,
absolutely
don't
love
they?
it.
That's why they want to have free movement.
So in that sense, there is some economic growth if you're a business, but the taxpayer ends up taking up the slack of all of that because actually it's not enough for people to work on, and it means a lot of people who are already here are left out of work.
Yeah, and so we're constantly told these people are working. Yes, they're working, but they're being paid minimum wage, which, and they're also claiming working tax credits. They've got child benefit, and they are also often having housing benefit. And housing benefit bills now, what, 30 billion a year? We are subsidising low wages.
On top of that, they send a lot of money out of the country in remittances. They send it back home. That's why a lot of them have come here in the first place. Not because they want to be British, but because they view this as an opportunity to better themselves elsewhere. They view Britain as a marketplace. Well, this is the thing. You say good for them, but actually I don't think the average Brit does view their country, first and foremost, as a marketplace. They want people who
I'm just saying, I have no issue with anybody who wants to come here. I've got big issue with people who want to come here and not work, but that's not the vast majority. They want to come here and work. However, all good for them, But is there a net benefit to people in this country? And we know that there isn't, even per capita GDP, but certainly for the average Briton, there isn't a benefit. Unless they're someone who's got key skills, they're high, you want to bring a multimillionaire footballer or entrepreneur over, or a top surgeon, brilliant. Come on in, you're welcome. But if you're not a net taxpayer, a net contributor, sorry, you're not much use to us. But this is the reality. But also, can we talk about the other side of this? Because there is that impact on housing, on jobs and pay, school places, access to the NHS. We're not expanding that to meet everything. But there's also a cultural impact.
Yes.
And this is the thing that people seem scared about talking about. But, well, since people already labelled me for being a racist, for saying we shouldn't have mass uncontrolled immigration, I've got nothing left to lose, have I? It's nothing to do with people's skin colour. Couldn't care less. Utterly irrelevant. The only thing I do care about, though, is social cohesion, community cohesion. And there are many people on left and right who now are finally being brave enough to talk about this. And it's about having people come to this country. Do you speak the language? Can you integrate? Are you assimilated? Do you accept our values about equality? Do you accept, for instance, that different faiths can marry each other or have no faith? Do you accept, for instance, that, I don't know, a teacher could show a picture of the Prophet Muhammad to children at school as part of a religious studies class and not face a threat of being killed and still be in hiding 3 years later? I don't know. Do you accept that?
Yes.
Now, these are important cultural values. And when you import a lot of people, and we're having a mass importation now from Africa and the Indian subcontinent with people who do not necessarily share those values, I think that is a warning flag about social cohesion and community cohesion.
I think actually that is the dominant fear for a lot of people in this country, is not the economic argument. It is whether or not they want to be British, whether or not they want to contribute to society beyond simply economics. They want to know that they can trust them, that they have things in common with people. When that's the case, I think actually British people are incredibly welcoming. And I think you only need to look at how well integrated the Hindu or the Jewish communities are in this country to see actually it is nothing to do with race, ultimately. If you are wanting to be British, you will find a happy home.
Afro-Caribbean community.
The part of the problem here is, and we're seeing this actually in Germany. Germany is a very good example of this. Germany has a very large Turkish community, and in recent years, they have started setting up political organisations. Indeed, they've set up a political party which is receiving funding from the Turkish government. At that point, what stage do we then say, you're importing people into a country who have diametrically opposed views to you, and they're trying to use your system to impose those views, not necessarily on everybody, but within their own communities? At what point do you say that's unacceptable, actually, and that we should be reversing that process? It is not acceptable to bring in people who do not share British values and then go, that's fine, you use the system to your own advantage. Do we not actually have a strong enough sense of ideals to say, no, that's not acceptable?
I have an issue with the fact, the people talk about the Labour Party needing to talk, what the Muslim community's views on about Palestine and Gaza.
I think that's a great example.
I don't think our politics should be based on those sort of religious definitions. Hasn't worked out well for Northern Ireland. We'll be talking about that up next.